Hi there, and welcome to the IBAC Tech Trek, where we explore the outer reaches of insurance technology. Today, we're going to dive into the IBAC Tech Committee, and I'm pleased to be joined by the two co-chairs of the Tech Committee, James Higgins and Lucy Frechette, and I'll get them to introduce themselves. Lucy, can you tell the folks who you are?
Okay, thanks, Tom. I'm Lucy. I'm a former math geek who elected to spend her career in P&C insurance, focusing on operations, growth, and strategy. I'm also president of the Quebec Brokers Association, and as co-chair of the IBAC Tech Committee, this is where I help. I hope that we can help brokers separate what's useful tech from shiny objects, and also make sure everything actually works in real life for the brokers. Thanks.
Thanks, Lucy. Awesome. Thank you. And James.
Thanks, Tom. James Higgins. I'm commercial manager for Atlantic for Higgins Insurance, and I'm presently the chair of the Insurance Brokers Association of New Brunswick and a board member at IBAC. And new to my role as a co-chair of the Tech Committee as of November of last year. I've been in the insurance industry for 24 years. I started with Wawanese Insurance as a property underwriter, spent about 3 years there, and then moved over to the broker side of things. I joined my family brokerage in 2005, and I've been there ever since.
Awesome. All right, so you're both relatively new and fresh to the chairing of the Tech Committee. Not new and fresh to the industry.
Okay, thanks.
That's where you thought I was going, right?
That's exactly. My face doesn't lie.
You guys are, as I said, new and fresh to the Tech Committee. Now, I guess it's February now, so 3 months, give or take. And so I'm going to give you a skill testing question here as new chairs. What is the purpose of the IBAC Tech Committee? So there's a number of committees under the IBAC board, the IBAC Tech Committee being one of them. What is the purpose of the IBAC Tech Committee? And Lucy, why don't you go first?
So the IBAC Tech Committee, I said a bit of it in my intro. It exists to support brokers in understanding, evaluating, and responding to technology shifts that will affect how brokers operate and serve clients. So, the Tech Committee exists because brokers can't just sit back and let technology happen to them. They have to have a say in understanding how it's shaped and how they can work with it. So it acts as a forum for collaboration with the vendors, with the provincial associations, with insurers that are a big provider of tech for brokers have to use their tech, with the goal of advancing broker knowledge of tech, connectivity, and the adoption across all the channels. The committee helps ensure that the broker's needs and priorities are communicated clearer to the broader ecosystem, rather than simply reacting to the innovations after they emerge. Did I get that right, Tom?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to you. Okay.
Yeah, you're the co-chair. You tell me.
I just want to see if I'm passing.
Okay. Well, I'll give you your grade at the end of the podcast.
All right.
Okay. All right. So let's turn to James here for another skill testing question. So James, you've been to a couple of meetings now, had a number of communications within the Tech Committee. Who is on the Tech Committee?
There is one representative from each of the IBAC member associations, so the provincial associations, with one or two exceptions, send a representative to the IBAC Tech Committee, and those are usually a representative of the provincial tech committees themselves. There are two co-chairs now, and again, Lucy has far more experience on this. I believe Lucy was the chair last year. I am brand new to the committee. I've only actually attended the one meeting in the last quarter of 2025. But there are, I believe 14 or 15 individuals. There are, I think, 4 representatives from both the executive and the IBAC board of directors that also sit on the committee as well.
Okay. So if a broker wanted to join the tech committee, they would essentially need to join their own association tech committee first and then get nominated to the IBAC Tech Committee. Yeah.
I can't speak for every organization in the country, but that is the way onto the board.
I know all the people on this committee, and I think they're all really strong, great representatives, and have a strong understanding of technology and how it works in industry. But how did we end up in this situation where there's a really strong group?
The associations that nominate the people to sit on the various committees, they have been able to recruit. Basically, what they're looking for is technology engaged professionals. So, most of the people who start as brokers, but then they realize quickly that they can't work without the technology. It's a mix of relevant experience in technology, but also insurance. They bring a diversity of perspectives. That what makes it so successful is we've got a diversity of geography and of brokerage size on the committee. And mostly, I think the brokers there, there's a real willingness to engage constructively with the stakeholders, and to do so to advance broker interests, but in a very constructive way.
So, James, outside of the glamour, why did you agree to become the chair of the IBAC Tech Committee?
I had agreed and volunteered for whatever committee basically the executive wanted to put me on. For good or ill, they chose the tech committee for me, and it's probably a bit outside of my comfort zone. It's not something I had really delved into much over my career. And so I took the challenge, and I've learned a lot about where the tech committee has come from over the past 5 years, especially the last 2 years. So there was a lot of homework to do, and gladly did it. And looking forward to this year and possibly next year of co-chairing with Lucy.
Thank you, James. So, Lucy, let's get into your motivations here. I know you're heavily involved with the Quebec Broker Association, the RCCAQ, which I've said it before, I'll say it again, is absolutely killing it from a broker technology perspective. So, anyway, now that I've got that little plug in there, Lucy, you can tell us what your motivation for becoming co-chair was.
Thanks. I work for food. And the food is really great at the committee meetings. No, in all seriousness, as you can tell with my wired mic, I'm good at old technology, but I hear they're making a comeback because the sound quality is much better. No, in all seriousness, I agreed to chair because over the years, brokers are realizing that technology is at the core of how brokers deliver value to their customers, and how they need to integrate the technology to differentiate themselves in the market. Coming from Quebec, we've got a very strong direct arm, and without using as much technology as we can, brokers are going to get left behind. So it's been a core preoccupation, let's say, of mine for the past few years, just to understand exactly how we don't get left behind. And brokers needed a dedicated, structured place from across Canada to make sure that we're able to make sense of everything that's coming out at us, like all the emerging tech trends. There's so many of them. And also a place by having like one voice, and that's the beauty of IBAC, we speak as one voice across Canada, then we're able to effectively influence how technology happens in our industry. Not happens to us, but happens in our industry, and to just ensure that brokers are not left behind as the digital transformation accelerates. So.
Right. So IBAC, has always been known for its political action side of the house, and my my recollection is that the IBAC board made a decision for maybe 5 years ago now that technology would also be a strategic pillar in its mandate. So it was described to me as political action is sort of pillar 1A, and technology is 1B. So can you tell me what notable things the committee has been involved in or pushed or spearheaded or what have you?
Okay. Okay, so right from the start, when the committee was formed, one of its most important priorities was connectivity. So brokers need connectivity to be able to do their work. Connectivity to the carriers, connectivity to their customers, connectivity to the vendors. And it has been, some of the members of the tech committee have been talking about connectivity for the past 15 years. But the IBAC Tech Committee has really taken, as we say in French, the flame, the flambeau, and carried it forward. And that's leading to our support of the most recent CZO strategic initiative, which is the API gateway. This has become our number one priority. If there is only one thing we get right or done in the next 2 years and help the industry get right, is to have that initiative launch. Some other initiatives that we've been involved in is we've also delivered some AI education webinars because AI is moving at the speed of light, and we didn't want brokers to get left behind. So we delivered webinars to help brokers understand why AI needs to be part of the brokerage ecosystem, not just watch it go by, and just as importantly, how to approach it responsibly and safely. The emphasis on the initial webinars has been on governance risk and practical application, not just hype, but really practical application in broker offices. We've also helped push carriers to adopt, but also fix the CZO standards and push carriers to adopt them. So some of the improvements that have been done as well to eDocs were as a result of member suggestions from the IBAC committee. And finally, we've been conducting vendor forums, and the IBAC Tech Committee pushing the vendors to adapt to the changes needed in the market. For example, making sure that vendors stay on top of what's coming up with the Ontario Auto Review, and also what's going to be upcoming in Alberta in the next year. And, Lord knows what's going to happen the year after that. So keeping on top of things to make sure that, brokers have the tools they need.
It's interesting you talk about some of the background here, because I started consulting for IBAC 3 and change years ago. But I was reading some of the documentation that had been prepared by previous tech committee members or consultants or whatever, and I looked at the dates on some of those documents, and some of them, it wasn't, it was like 200 something, so 15, 20 years prior. So as an industry, we've been talking about connectivity for a long time, and I think we're finally in the position. A lot of the dominoes have fallen into place, and a lot of the thought processes have got to the point that, around the CSIO table that are leading to this. So it's the time is really right. And I think IBAC and IBAC Tech have been a really big part of pushing that to happen. So yeah, I completely agree with your comments there, Lucy. So James, I'm going to turn to you. So we're talking about what this tech committee has done, and a lot of the stuff is behind the scenes stuff where the average broker would never see it, probably wouldn't even think to go look for it. So if there's a broker watching this podcast and wants to learn more, how would the average broker see what the tech committee is doing?
Well, I believe you were instrumental in revamping the IBAC Tech website, which is a great forum to share this information. Also, they have links to both IBAC Tech site, but they also have, their own broker resources and broker tools through their portals. So that's where I would send individual brokers to both their association and to the IBAC Tech website.
Thanks for that. I do have to point out, to give credit where credit is due, I wasn't the one who's designing the IBAC Tech website. There was a subcommittee put together with that, and Kim Opheim, who's since retired, was part of that, and people like Jeff Roy were part of that. I have provided that content to the website for sure, but the actual design was down to that committee. So I can't take that credit. I can take credit for a lot of the articles that are on the page, but I can't take credit for the actual website itself.
Yeah.
So that's great feedback, and that is www.ibactech.ca, and there's a lot of great information there, and the AI project is laid out in great detail there, which is I think it's really well done. If we look at the next 3-year time horizon, what do you think is important for brokers in the tech space? Like what do you think is going to dominate the next few years in the tech space for brokers?
Well, I think I would be remiss if I didn't firstly mention the API gateway again. Like to Lucy's point earlier, if we do nothing else, and the API gateway takes shape and form and is implemented, that is going to be a massive win for brokers and insurers alike. Also, the AI working group is doing some great things. That is going to continue over the next year or two. Cybersecurity from both the sales and implementation for brokerages. Lucy, did you want to continue from there?
Yes, I think the next important areas for the IBAC Tech Committee is about practical adoption. Tools are coming out, vendors are coming out with tools, and brokers don't just need ideas; they need support and frameworks for how to successfully implement this new tech in their business. So the tech committee is working on, how to help brokers understand how to implement it. So with that, we're talking about education and broker readiness. So as these tools like data analytics, digital platforms, and AI evolve and evolve fast, brokers will need ongoing learning, as well as collective insights to apply these ideas in ways that uphold the broker value.
We always talk about technology and this whether it's a shiny object or a useful tool or whatever. We talk about the tech. What is very rarely talked about is the adoption of that and the change management required to adopt certain things.
Mhm.
Right? When you talk about something like artificial intelligence, it will upend processes if it's implemented well. It will upend process and get rid of a lot of labor intensive work and add a lot of that advice and advocacy kind of work, and which is great, but unless teams and organizations are sort of led appropriately through that change, you're going to have negative outcomes if you just introduce something new and don't really bring people through how this all now works.
Yeah. And I think the AI webinars are very useful for brokers to start having that prise de conscience, in French, that, bring it forward in their thinking. It's like AI is not something that's happening out there. It's going to happen at you if you're not playing in it right away. It's going to be important for us to help brokers move from the conversations to the experimentation of how to use those tools and how to use AI.
Yeah. One of the things that put a quick plug for the AI project is one of the things. So we've been through the education phase. Phase 1 was education and governance and identifying a bunch of potential use cases. So right, the webinars are out there, the governance is on the website, and we're now in the process of actually executing on a couple of proofs of concept. And hopefully in a future phase, we'll do more proofs of concept, which we'll then publish to the broker community. But what I thought was really interesting is the two brokers that we have involved in these proofs of concept are super engaged and super excited about it. But they're the sort of leading edge of the curve. And
Yeah.
even these brokerages that are tech forward recognize that bringing their people through a series of exercises or a whole time frame where they're going to actually learn to adopt this new way of working, they recognize that as a challenge. So I think we'll surface a lot of that through this AI project. I mean, any tech project requires change management, right? Any good tech project is going to change the way people work, but AI is just more extreme.
Agreed. And I think when it comes to AI, I'll be honest, it scares a lot of non-tech savvy people. Like, tech-savvy brokers. So the work we're doing with the education, but now with the proofs of concept, it's, it brings to reality tools that can actually be used, like for brokers to dip their toes and to see it being done with another broker. Kind of takes that scare, like the real technical term here, scariness out of it. But I think that's the best way to get brokers to adopt something, is to see somebody else and to share the knowledge and share the learnings. Will be really important. And this is
Yep.
where the IBAC Tech Committee can really help.
So, Lucy, what is next for the Tech Committee?
So the next practical activity for the Tech Committee will be in April. We'll be hosting our vendor tech meetings. We've changed the format, so we'll be meeting the 6 BMS vendors separately over the course of 2 days. And then,
Great. If I can just jump in there, because I've been to a number of those, the previous forums, we had everybody, all the vendors around the table, which is good because you can get some back and forth, but it also restricted the vendors from saying certain things because their competition was right there. Some of them didn't mind that. Some of them were very public about their intentions, and some of them, it restricted what they're saying. So going to more of a one-on-one, so committee with one vendor at a time, less time available per vendor, but probably more in-depth conversations. I think that's kind of the thought process, and it's an experiment, right? We're trying something different to see if we can get more out of it.
Yep. Yes, and I'm interested in seeing how it works when we get the vendors alone, and see what they can, the kind of discussion, deeper discussion we can get into them. And the other things, we'll continue working, as we mentioned, on the AI use cases. So stay tuned, because the committee will be sharing more on these as the initiatives progress, and if we add some. And the connectivity is going to be a number one priority, is ensuring that the new CZO strategic initiative gets off the ground, gets the support from the different carriers, so we can once and for all get a real connected supercalifragilistic highway between what brokers need and what the carriers can offer us.
So I know I've had a number of conversations and emails back and forth about the CSIO strategy, the API gateway, and as far as I know, there's clearly no marketing people on this group because nobody's come up with a name yet. But I think we should push for the supercalifragilistic expialidocious highway.
I like it.
Yeah. Hey, all in favor? Okay.
It's fantastic.
The world of insurance is changing because the world of tech is changing. Join us on the journey at ibactech.ca.